remarks, and we'll be taking questions from the media shortly. Before we get started, we'll go ahead and kick it off with some opening remarks from the crew. Go ahead.
All right. Thanks, Courtney. Hey, let's go to the moon. I think the nation and the world has been waiting a long time to do this again. And on behalf of myself, Victor, Christina, Jeremy, we are really pumped to go do this for this entire team. It has been a lot of work. It's been a great journey. It's great to be down here in the Florida warm air. The vehicle looked amazing on the pad on the way in. Victor and Christina led us here. It's just been an awesome start to this journey here at Kennedy. So I'll hand it over to Victor. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's awesome to be here. We love coming here. About 100 miles away. We said how much we love flying into KSC. And so I just want to send a special thank you to our AOD team. They pulled a lot together to make this possible for us to get to fly all these jets and stay in quarantine and have all the support. So thank you to all of them, and looking forward to answering your questions.
We're so happy to be here. Little anecdote on the way here, we had an ATC controller.
Forward to answering your questions.
We're so happy to be here. Little anecdote on the way here, we had an ATC controller actually reach out and working for a long time. So we're ready to do this and to fulfill our mission for all of you.
Thanks, Adam.
Wow, what a welcome. We left a crazy goodbye from just so many people lined the streets. It was a warm embrace on our way leaving home to come here, and then to arrive here and have all of you supporting us on the way in just feels really positive. I got to tell you, I am fired up. My family it's hard to say goodbye. We'll see them again tomorrow, but we're all fired up to go do this. So, halonzi.
Nice. In NASA speak, I got 2 go-backs, which means I just forgot stuff on the first time through. We want to give a little salute to our backups over there, Andre and Jenny, so give them all a round of applause. They've been on this journey every step of the way with us, and it's great to have them in the aircraft with us coming down here, and they'll be strapping us into the vehicle when it's launch day. And then I didn't forget, we wanted to save this for the end, but we are holding our 0G indicator rise, and Christina will make a few comments about this.
Yes. Let's see if I can get this microphone in place. But we are thrilled to announce today the winner of the 0G indicator or ZGI contest, which was participated in worldwide. And our buddy here named Rise was submitted by 2nd grader Lucas Yee from California.
Yeah, Lucas.
Thank you, Lucas. The crew personally participated in selecting our buddy, our stowaway, to fly with us. And this little guy, Rise, really resonated with us because the theme is actually the Earthrise photo taken on Apollo 8, which is inspirational to all of us. And it is a mission that sort of mirrors our own. And we've incorporated it into our mission patch and also into our ethos and values as a crew. So welcome aboard, Rise. It was a great first flight with you. We look forward to the next one.
Saludos amigos de TampaHoy.com. En estos momentos estamos viendo a los astronautas que llegaron a Florida. Están listos para dar literalmente su lanzamiento en varios días. Y en estos momentos presentaron a Rise, la mascota que fue creada por un estudiante. Y también la acaban de mostrar. Esa mascota los va a estar acompañando a ellos durante esta misión que van a estar realizando saliendo desde el Cabo Cañaveral. Vamos a escuchar un poquito sobre la conferencia de prensa en estos momentos.
Go ahead.
Hi, Marcia Dunn, Associated Press, right over here. Here we are. You've had, there have been 2 rocket rollouts, 3 quarantines. I know it's part of the job, but how tough has all these up and downs been over the past couple of months?
La pregunta fue cómo ellos se han sentido estar varias veces en cuarentena. Esta vez es la tercera vez y ella quiere saber cómo es que ellos se han sentido durante los pasados meses.
The entire time, as you stated, but our families have really turned to make it possible, and I think we actually were able to quarantine all of us with our entire families, or at least it started that way, and so I really just wanted to focus on them and say thank you to them for making it.
Él está mencionando que siempre han recibido el apoyo de sus familiares también. Sus familiares también han participado en cuanto a la cuarentena con ellos durante los pasados meses porque, bueno, han tenido que hacer los cambios necesarios para poder realizar la misión.
Hey everyone, Mark Strassman, CBS. Good to see you all again. Reed, I think I'll toss this one to you if that's okay. Ever since the four of you were selected 3 years ago, you've been focused on this moment, and of course, millions of people have been following along, and there are millions of people who are now just realizing this moment is about to happen. So when you factor in the unpredictability of space, and when you factor in the fact that this is first and foremost a test flight, what should be the expectations for this mission?
Están preguntando cuáles las expectativas de esta misión.
The way I kind of think about it in my head is this is the first time we're loading the crew on with fuel on the pad. So we're ready. The rocket is ready. We are ready. NASA is ready. This vehicle is definitely ready to
El
go.
astronauta está mencionando que todo el equipo está listo, tanto los astronautas, tanto el equipo de NASA, y están listos para poder montarse en ese cohete.
Timeline and we're just not ready as a team, and then we'll probably take a 24-hour or a 48-hour pause. In my head, it probably maybe a 48-hour pause, regroup, come out on the third, give it a go again, see how it goes.
Van a mantenerse 24 horas en pausa y luego van a, o 48, y luego van a seguir para poder completar la misión.
Jenny's over there. I was talking to Jenny on the way here, like a little piece of my brain is always holding on that April 1st is not a guarantee. April 6th is not a guarantee. We got to go feel this whole thing.
Ellos mencionan que abril 1 no es una garantía, ni los próximos meses tampoco es una garantía, pero su trabajo es prepararse y estar listos para el lanzamiento.
There's the 250th anniversary jets over here. You got the backdrop of everything that Jared announced last week with stepping up the pathway to the moon and Mars. I wonder to what extent that kind of weighs on you as either a burden or a blessing, and how you consider your places in history. Thank you.
I'm happy to step in.
Yeah. We have talked a lot about the exciting changes that have been announced and how we're approaching fulfilling our destiny in space and our journey to the moon and on.
Otra de las preguntas fue cómo ellos se sienten ser parte de la historia. Y ella está mencionando que han estado hablando sobre esta situación y que para ellos es inspirador.
Because we are already ramping up ideas for how we're going to get the next crew trained. And if anything, it just contributes to something that we've held in our values since day one as a crew. We actually have relay batons because in spaceflight, whether it's a short duration flight like a sprint, a long duration flight like many of us have been on, we call it a marathon, we're in a relay race and we're not successful till the next missions are successful. And if nothing else, this just fired us up for that all the more.
Hey everybody, great to see you again. Welcome back. It's been probably a year and a half since I got to talk to you guys. I'm James.
Bueno, y amigos de TampaHoy.com, mi nombre es José Ángel Acevedo y estoy aquí viendo con ustedes en vivo la conferencia de prensa de los astronautas que se están preparando ya literalmente para salir el 1 de abril a la Luna. Y bueno, estamos escuchando aquí cómo ellos se han estado preparando durante los pasados meses, y también ellos están mencionando que no están 100% garantizados de que el 1 puedan salir, porque pues siempre hay muchos cambios en el tiempo. Sin embargo, ellos están listos para poderse montar en ese Artemis II y poder salir de la Tierra para poder hacer historia en la galaxia y de esa manera poder brindar más inspiración a la nación. Además de que, como ustedes pueden ver en la mano del astronauta, tiene a la mascota de esta misión, y es una mascota creada por un estudiante de segundo grado. Y al principio de la conferencia de prensa, ellos brindaron el nombre y también el nombre de esta mascota, que es Rice. Y bueno, los quiero invitar a que vayan a TampaHoy.com en TikTok y todas las plataformas para que puedan ver ese momento en el que dijeron el nombre de Rice la mascota de esta misión de la Luna. Los dejo aquí con la conferencia de prensa, con el resto de la conferencia de prensa de los astronautas que ya están aquí en Florida para poder lanzarse al espacio en los próximos días en esta misión de Artemis II que ha dado mucho de qué hablar en los pasados meses porque lo han tenido que cambiar y cancelar lamentablemente por condiciones del tiempo. Así que vamos a seguir viendo esta conferencia de prensa. Yo voy a estar aquí con ustedes a través de tampahoy.com y más adelante les voy a traer más detalles. Como les dije anteriormente, vayan al Instagram y también al TikTok de Tampa Hoy para que puedan ver el momento en el que presentaron esa mascota y también presentaron quién fue el ganador de la creación de esta mascota que va a estar acompañando a los astronautas en este vuelo hacia la Luna el próximo 1 de abril. Mi nombre es José Ángel Acevedo y los veo un poquito más tarde en nuestras plataformas digitales y también en nuestro noticiero de las 10:30 de la noche en The CW Tampa Bay.
This window. I would love to hear about what it's been like planning your lives these past few months, you know, with a moving target of a launch date. And I hate to fast forward, but is there anything you're looking forward to, you know, that you haven't been able to do for when you get back?
Sure. Yeah, I'll take a stab at that. I think that as astronauts, one of our jobs, yes, is to be skill trained, to train for all the specific things that we have to do. But it's also, there's some kind of bigger picture, almost theoretical trainings that we do along the way. One of those is being able to task switch. One of those is being able to be adaptable. And one of them is preparation without expectation. And that is something we go into this with straight away from the beginning. There's one thing I'm sure of, though, is every day that passes is a day closer to launch. And that's something that I keep in mind. As for things I'm looking forward to afterwards, just splashdown and being back on Earth. I haven't thought a whole lot past that. But yes, the to-do list in the folder of post-flight is growing.
Hi, TG Mascara with the Epoch Times. Thank you so much, and welcome to Florida. I know you guys are adamant about how you fly when you're ready, and there's no guarantee, but an April 1st launch would mean that you guys would be on your way to the moon at Easter, which just seems to parallel Apollo 8 even better because they flew at Christmas. I'm wondering, have you guys thought about that at all? Especially like concerning the fact that you're leaving your families back home?
It's really good that you highlight. I was looking at my calendar on my way out of my house this morning, heading over to Ellington, and I was like, wow, this is an interesting time to go fly this mission. And I do love that you tied it back to Apollo 8. And each one of us, we have our own different opinions, our own individual opinions, and our own individual beliefs. And I think that's one of the best parts about this mission right now is we have said from the beginning, we really are going for all by all, and we are. And we want to take the whole world along with us. And so we just came out of a very important Muslim holiday. We're going into a very important Christian holiday. And I think that that's great that we celebrate all of this all the way around the world. And that's really, I think that's what this crew wants to do. Thank you.
Hi, Will Robinson Smith with Spaceflight Now. It's good to see you all again. Question for Victor, if I may. The last time we spoke in September at JSC, you mentioned the importance of the team being able to ask for simulations, go in and sandbox, kind of work things out. What was the last simulation that you all did at Johnson before heading out here? And do you have anything planned between now and launch, or is it kind of just focus up time?
Actually, what we just did in front of you was the last simulation. I guess this is a part of how we train for space and for the unknown and dealing with weather and things. But, in terms of the Artemis specific simulations, we actually spent a day where we started off with ascent and then we ended with entry. And so we got to work with both of those flight control teams and practice those procedures, and we dealt with malfunctions. We did multiple runs of each. And I'll tell you, the delays that we've had since we went into quarantine the first time in January have opened up opportunities to just really imprint some of the learning that we already had done. But we've also done things that we had not done since or had not done up to that point. And so We've made the most of this time. And I'll tell you, every time we get out of a sim, I'm like, man, there's some things that we do, and we're just like, we are clearly ready to go. But I'm also impressed by how much learning we still do. And I will tell you, the ultimate learning is going to be the mission. And so that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, is coming back and talking about how much we've learned as we fly.
Yes, Zachary Albert with the launch pad from Canada. Welcome to the beautiful Space Coast. It's a great day here with you guys arriving. At TOP, we believe that space is better together, and I think all of you embody that you're not going back just as America this time. Canada's going, and this is laying a foundation to expand back to the moon and onto Mars as a united humanity. If one of you could just speak on why space is so important to explore together and go back as a united front, and hopefully that trickles back down to being united here on Earth as well.
You just kind of answered your own question there. I think you did a wonderful job. So we are going back. The administrator has been hard at work this week talking about ignition and getting us. He's been talking a lot more than we have, for sure. So the plans that we have, the plans that this agency is setting forth and this nation is setting forth, we cannot do this alone long term. There's no way we are going to take this planet Earth humanity and explore the cosmos unless we are doing it coalition together, all of us. It is going to take significant investment. It's going to take significant development, new technologies, inventive minds. Everybody's going to have to come together. And I will echo what you always say. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Like, that's been our motto from the beginning. And you feel that right now with the sustainable lunar base, habitat, architecture, and kind of the test, fly, test, develop approach. We have been missing that for a long time, and we are very happy to have that back.
Yeah. And just to give a shout out, yes, we're taking a Canadian, but we also have satellites. You know, some of the CubeSats are from international partners, and the European Space Agency worked with Airbus to make that service module. So it is a team effort, and I'm glad you highlighted that. There's a lot of countries that are really cheering us on physically by contributing hardware for this mission.
Jeremy, thank you for taking Canada. Growing up in Canada, we didn't envision as students going to the moon, so thank you. Have an amazing flight.
Hi, I'm Bert Dick from Ad Astra Magazine, National Space Society. In the history of U.S. human spaceflight, the first flight of a crewed spacecraft and rockets only occurred a few times. Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, the shuttle, commercial crew with Crew Dragon and Starliner. How do you feel about making this first flight with Orion and the Space Launch System? And where do you see it placing you in the advancement of our human spaceflight program? And an add-on question, are you looking forward to that new capsule smell when you get into Orion?
I think it's one thing that's common for astronauts is we just crave a challenge. And it's not just the astronauts, it's the team, it's the broad team. And when you're doing a first with a vehicle, any first, you just get to see people at their best. You are bringing a team, you're giving them challenges, you think you've solved it, then you realize you haven't, and then you see them dig in and dig out of that challenge over and over and over again, and it's just inspiring. And so to be part of firsts, and we got a lot of firsts coming ahead with all the changes, this is an exciting time, and it is going to truly test our mettle. And I think for humanity, gosh, how lucky are we to be in a position where we can set this many new firsts up in front of us that we're going to slowly knock down one after the other. You know, there's something that we often say, you know, failure is not an option, but I think it is often misunderstood. It's not that we never fail, it's that we don't quit when we fail. We stick at it until we create a solution and find our way through it. We know there's failures coming, but we know we're going to stick to it.
Hello, Manuel Masanti from Exploración Espacial. Welcome to Florida. Cristina, you're about to become the first woman to fly beyond lower orbit ever. I'm curious to know how that weighs in on you. If beyond being part of the crew, one more of the crew, do you feel that extra responsibility of paving the way for the younger generations, girls and other women following your steps?
Yeah, thank you for that. For me, that aspect of this flight isn't necessarily about any one person. It's the thing to celebrate is that we, as a world, actually, are living in an era where we know that we have to go for all and by all in order to answer humanity's call to explore. I recognize that we talk about these superlatives, we talk about the first, and that's a great thing because it brings people in. What is state of the art right now in human spaceflight? Where are we? Where are we reaching? Where have we been? And just like that vista, I am so grateful to those that paved the way for me to be here and for all of us to be here. And it's an honor to potentially inspire the explorers of the future. But again, the big thing to celebrate and the big thing about that we should all be talking about is we collectively made the decision to be here in a place where everyone gets to contribute equally and work equally hard to achieve their dreams.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Morell from BBC News. Thanks so much for speaking to us today. A quick question for each of you. You're going to be spending quite a lot of time in a very cramped space. Do you have any annoying habits that you're worried about the others discovering? I mean, you probably know about them already, but please do share. Question for each of you.
Well, we got to Ellington Field this morning. I had a lot of energy, and I was making some remarks in front of everybody and like doing a selfie with all the families and stuff. And Christina goes, "That's normal. That's just how, what was it? That's just how he metabolizes stress," or something like that. I was like, all right, we know each other. We know each other for sure. What you talk about is real and it is important. And we have developed over 3 years very intentionally talking through everything because you never know, like clicking a pen cap can annoy somebody over 10 days in a small capsule. So we have got a great dialogue together and we talk through those sorts of things. But there are definitely going to be things by day 6, 7, 8, 9 that we're like, man, all right, I need a little space and I can't get any right now. But we are a good crew.
Confessions, please come forward.
if anybody has something, you can do it. Sure. Yeah, sure.
My initial instinct was to just say pass. My second instinct is to say I can't really answer it because they're the ones who would be annoyed. So I don't know. I don't know. But you know, an interesting thing about this, like you said, it is a very important aspect of spending a lot of time in tight quarters. There comes a point also, like the joke Christina made about Reed this morning, that there comes a point where what maybe started off as a potential annoyance actually becomes a thing of endearment. And I think we have reached that point. We spend so much time together. We shared a stateroom on a Navy ship. We camped together. We've been in a lot of tight situations. And so they've actually become things that I think, at least I can say, appreciate about each other. And so I just wanted to share that aspect of it.
I will say my annoying trait would be question avoidance, and I'm going to just speak around that. No, I think it really speaks a lot to how you worded your question, and that probably is how we're all thinking about it. What are we worried about that we're going to annoy other people? I don't think any of us are worried that the other people are going to annoy them, and for that reason, we're going to do just fine. And for the record, I have plenty.
The one obvious one for me is I haven't lived in space for over 6 months like these three have, and so I won't know how to float and fly, and I'll be a bit clumsy up there. So I know that's going to be hilarious and annoying at the same time, some of that. The other thing I'll just share is we do have a toolbox, or a tool in our toolbox for this, is that, we have just really clearly stated to one another and believe it in our hearts that we never have any intention to annoy the others or not lift the others up. And so when something comes up, we know that it's not intentional, and we know that we can also bring it up. And so I expect the three of them to just tell me when something comes up that's not cool with them, and I'll just fix it. No big deal.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Don Haladiuk for the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. A question for Jeremy. Jeremy, what can you say about, you're going to be making history here, being the first non-American to leave low Earth orbit. How do you feel, and what can you tell Canada about your feelings?
I feel a lot of things. For sure, I feel a great sense of pride for Canada, because I have seen the greatness that we have within the country and the contributions that we are capable of making. And it's fun to see them it's fulfilling to see them appreciated on the world stage. So a sense of pride in Canada for sure. And also, you know, it is time to continue to evolve our vision as Canadians. You know, what can we continue to do? What can we do next? And that's really exciting to me. I love that we have that Canadian can-do spirit, that what's going to be the next challenge? Yes, I'll be the first Canadian to fly into deep space, but we often say in this crew, the point's not being the first, it's making sure you're not the last. And what's someone going to do? What's Jenny going to do next for Canada, for an example? The other thing I always want to highlight and emphasize in a moment like this, that you must acknowledge the extraordinary U.S. space leadership that creates an environment where we can bring that excellence and demands that excellence. And so that Americans should rightly be proud that they curate collaboration that does this together, because that is an intentional, not a necessary, but an intentional choice to do that. And that's an extraordinary thing that lifts up the entire world to do what Reed was talking about earlier, to all bring our gifts and do some just extraordinary stuff. But it does take a leader, it does take a vision to go do that, and we have that going on. How lucky are we?
Thank you.
Was that for me? Oh, sorry. Jeremy, did you get taller? You look taller, sir.
Yeah, we keep bringing them. No, I'm trying to keep a low profile here.
I do have a question for Reed, if I may, and I'm going to mispronounce this. I'm Greg Pallone with Spectrum News 13. This is for our Spectrum stations up in New York, right? Okay. I'm going to mispronounce this. It's well, how about I do the acronym for you since we're all here? RPI, your journey from RPI, the Polytechnic Institute, to commander of Artemis II. Tell us about that journey.
Well, it's been a long time, and we don't have that much time, but it's been awesome. I had a great education up there in New York at Rensselaer, and joined the U.S. Navy, which is just an amazing place for a young man to go serve, or woman, or any American. It really taught me a tremendous amount just about the world, about cultures around the world. A lot of people think that the military is all about fighting, but it is really all, for me, that was my job, but it was all about learning and getting to go around the world. I traveled around the world 5 times on aircraft carriers and in the Navy, and just learned a tremendous amount. That people are at the core, they're pretty much all the same. They want to raise their families and do right, and sometimes we have our differences on a large scale. My time in the Navy was just filled with great friends and a good career. And then in 2009, I came to NASA, flew to the International Space Station in 2014. It's been a while since I've been up there, so Jeremy, I think I'm a rookie with you. And then here we are, standing here today on this beautiful Florida afternoon, and about to go ride a rocket to the moon. It's pretty amazing. Very lucky.
Thank you. Good luck. Good luck, crew. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. Max Evans with NASA Space Flight. You know, I asked this same question to the crew of Polaris Dawn when they launched about 1.5 years ago now, and I figured given the weight of what could be happening next week, I figured I'd toss it your guys' way too. Given the weight of what could be happening next week, how do you think this mission is going to affect you both personally and professionally? Question for the whole crew.
It's a deep question.
Yeah. Wow. That is a deep question, and thanks for posing it. And it's interesting to have a Polaris Dawn crew member here as well. It underscores some things that are being said all the time. The golden age of space exploration. There's so many amazing things happening, and we should be proud, all of us. You know, I guess I'm not going to answer your question. I actually spend a lot of time keeping myself from thinking beyond the mission on purpose when I start to daydream about those things, just because I really want to focus and give my all to this task. And, you know, a few of you have asked different types of questions about how do you think of this, the weight of this moment. All astronauts start a mission with one goal: to not mess it up. And I think that is really at the core of it. We have a lot of work to do. And so, but I will share something that is related to what you asked. I can tell you this: my first mission, the dream of going to space, because it was my first time, was there. It was front and center, even if I tried to focus past it or beyond it. This mission is much more about duty and responsibility, so we can pass the batons off for this campaign called Artemis with its lofty goals. And we live that every day. And then that's it. And then we want to back out and disappear while the Artemis II crew stands in front of this microphone. And so I personally really look forward to that period where I think personally and professionally, it is going to satisfy all of this risk chasing that I've been doing for 27 years.
That was awesome, man. We're going to stop right there. That was great.
Hi, Josh Dinner, space.com. What is your impression of the public's perception of your mission? And do you think there's any aspect of your flight that people are underestimating or maybe not as excited about as you think that they should be?
Jump in. Okay, I can say that after 3 years, that's the first time I've gotten that question. So I'm going to wing it here. I think overall, some of the big picture things are that we are going to be looking back at an Earth where not every human is on Earth. That is new. That is different. We will have crew members and our colleagues orbiting Earth around the International Space Station, and we even have an event where we get to talk to them ship to ship, which I think is a really exciting moment to be a part of. And I hope people come along for that and recognize the importance of that milestone. I think another really cool thing that we're doing is the proximity operations demonstration, where we actually separate from our upper stage rocket and then use it as a target to manually fly a spaceship. That is awesome. I'm really excited about that. And of course, rightfully so, we keep talking about the destination, the moon. We are doing some awesome things and getting some of our most important flight objectives done in that really high Earth orbit that we take in that first 24 hours in space. So that's a huge one. And I'll say the other thing is our proximity to the moon. We're going to be somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 miles from the surface of the moon, much farther than most of the Apollo missions. And there's actually a silver lining and an awesome thing about that, which is that if it's lighted in the right way, which we expect it to be, especially for this launch window, we have the opportunity to see parts of the far side of the moon with human eyes that have never been seen before because we have that pulled back perspective. And that's a really exciting thing to be a part of. I think our biggest wishes, though, for this, and I do think that as people come online learning about this mission, they are feeling, because of the questions we get and the feedback we get, is that it's for all of humanity. We really, truly are going for all and by all. I'm picking that up from the public, and I hope that it is just more and more impressed upon them that this is everyone's mission.
Thank you.
This is Pablo Fuente with Orbita Infinita. I'm speaking, as a content creator. First of all, thank you. You've been here 1 hour answering questions under the sun. It's a very hot day, so please hydrate. Thank you to the NASA team for allowing us to be here. Christina, you just mentioned this. You are going to see things that no human have witnessed before, at least with that perspective. Now that we know that you will have computer devices that can take video and pictures, how are you guys planning to share that content with the whole world? Because you are inspiring so many. Thank you.
Well, a couple things to consider. It's the first time we go out there with humans, of course, and so we want to set expectations realistically. It's not like being on the International Space Station 250 miles away. The communication system may be really robust, and we may be able to get a lot of information back, but we might not be able to as well. And this is one of the test objectives, is to see how our deep space communication system works, how much bandwidth we have for transmitting high-resolution photos or video. And so I don't know exactly what you'll see during the mission, but we will capture it all on the cards and bring it back with us, and we'll do a great job of sharing that. We're excited to try our best to take some images to try and bring you along on that journey to see the moon, to see some extraordinary aspects of the moon, but also to see yourselves from the perspective of the moon. I mean, just imagine that, the moon in the foreground and that Earth in the background, and you're all in that shot. Yeah, we're really excited to share that with you.
Hi, thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing this. Ken Kramer, Space Up Close. Speaking about talking back to humanity, I'd like to ask you guys, the Apollo crews did broadcasts in space, try to educate the kids. What are you guys going to do transmitting back on your way to the moon and back to motivate, educate, and excite the kids and everybody else. Thank you.
I think we've all kind of hit on it. The first thing that we have to do is we got to fly this mission successfully. There is going to be a tremendous amount of unknowns. There's going to be things that we didn't expect. There's going to be comm linkage difficulties. There's just going to be all sorts of things. The first thing we got to do is we just got to fly this mission. And then layered into our schedule, our public relations folks at NASA have developed a very nice portfolio of outreach opportunities. I think the NASA flagship channel, which I believe is on YouTube, is going to stream this live 24/7. So if you're having trouble falling asleep one night, you can just pop that on and watch us for a little while. Spaceflight can be very slow, and it can be very awesome. But we are going to have a tremendous amount of outreach. We're trying to hit all the social media sites. We're trying to hit all the traditional media sites, and we're trying to stream 24/7. And then the other thing that I think we do is just, we have a pretty gregarious, outgoing crew that really feels bought into this mission. And part of this mission is bringing along the world for all of us to be in this together. So we are going to be involved, and we're going to be out there doing this.
Thank you.
Question. Hey, good afternoon. I'm Brandon from Interstellar Gateway. This question can just go out to whoever it jumps out to the most. As someone who grew up watching Space Shuttle from right here on the Space Coast, and now being in the position that I'm in, I was wondering what's something that inspired you growing up that has kind of thrust you into the position that you're in now, about to launch around the moon?
I hope that we all get a chance to answer. And I was inspired. I'll give a space kind of related one. I was inspired by things that made me feel small. The night sky, the vast ocean. I love sailing with my family, big mountains, anything that made me ponder the size of the universe. And then on a more individual level, I was inspired by the leaders of the civil rights movement, by the people that weren't afraid to do what scared them in the face of a lot of mixed messages on what was the right thing, but they knew what was right, and they pursued that no matter what. I think about those people a lot when I'm in positions of having to work through fear, having to face things that are uncomfortable, and those are the people that inspired me growing up.
Thank you for the question and the opportunity to bring my parents into it, because it's them, my mother and father. And I know it's easy to say without my mom, I wouldn't be here literally, but also not just from the birth perspective, all along the way. My mom is the reason that I am alive and made it to adulthood, because I was trying real hard to make that not the case. And literally a conversation I had with my father while I was in college, I decided I wanted to join the Navy. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. And my dad said, hey, I know some SWAT guys. He is a retired police officer. I know some SWAT guys who did that, but that just doesn't look like you. But with a degree from Cal Poly and some wings on your chest, you might mess around and become an astronaut one day. And he said that to me in 1997. And so listen to your parents, folks. But my parents, and I could tell you stories like that about my grandparents as well, but it's been my parents' inspiration and support through this whole 49-year journey that is the reason I get to be on this side of this microphone.
That's so poignant, Victor. For me, I've told this many times, I saw an image of humans standing on the moon in Encyclopedia A as a young child, but I went one step further. I wasn't just inspired, but I shared that with other people, like Victor's talking about, with my parents, with teachers, mentors, and people realized that this was something I was passionate about, and they used it to push me outside my comfort zone over and over again. I was also fortunate that I grew up watching the Space Shuttle program, and I watched Canadian astronauts fly. And so I think these mentors for me, it wasn't something unachievable. They were actually seeing Canadians fly in space, the Canadian Space Agency through NASA, and that was very empowering. And there's something that I often think about. What's really important, I wasn't inspired because there was an inspiration program. I was inspired because humans went and did something extremely inspiring. And yes, we have a whole system that shares this so that it can be used and leveraged and put out there to inspire our next generation. But the key is to do what our leadership is trying to do right now, which is like, let's get out there and let's make it as inspiring as we can possibly make it for this next generation. And you know what will happen? They'll be standing here in 10, 20, 30 years, continuing to do extraordinary things.
Jeremy just nailed it. I was just going to say, you just have to go do things. Like, all of us are inspired by people who went and did new things, did difficult things, did hard things. Like, get out there and try and go do. One of my favorite part of Polaris Dawn was when you all hit apogee and you said that Artemis II is going to go carry this torch further from Earth. And what an amazing moment right there on a private space flight at apogee to make that radio call. Like, that's burned into my head. He's motivated me. You all have motivated all of us. And we get the opportunity right now to hold the conch and motivate the world. And that is an amazing privilege. And that is something that we are not going to let go of lightly. But we're doing it because we're going out and doing something. That is so critically important. I wanted to wrap up just really by saying two things. Maybe a go back, but two things. First, for the media that's here, if you just look this way, there's like this gaggle of unassuming people down here. But when we look at these people down here, these are the people that built the rocket, that know the rocket, that are going to launch the rocket, that have worked with us day in and day out. So we look over here and we see our friends Tyler and our launch director, and we see Jeremy and Kelvin, center directors. We've got deputy associate administrators over there. It's like, these are our friends over here that have made this mission. So I just wanted to highlight them. And then I really, for the crew, just wanted to look every one of you in the eye down this row and say thank you. Because what you're doing is every bit as important as what we're doing and what they're doing. Sharing the message, motivating the world, finding the truth, and reporting on it. So thank you all. Thanks for giving us your time, and we appreciate you.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. We have a series of briefings lined up this week as we count down to launch. So next up, we'll hear from the crew again this Sunday at 11:30 a.m. as they join us from crew quarters virtually. And as always, you can stay up to date on all the latest mission news and events at nasa.gov. Thanks to our crew for joining us today, and thank you all for joining us today. We'll see you on Sunday.